All right, guys, taking a break from Dune, hoping to make it home and get gear repaired and or replaced. Bit off a little bit more than I could chew on a quest and ended up dying like multiple times. So not a good look. Um, Probably would have had an easier time with it if I hadn't effed up. My brother, I Hungar plays and Windrunner will say plays, and except now I think he's called Sandrunner. Um, Windrunner gave me a badass sword the other day when he helped me find the warrior or swordmaster trainer, right? And of course, he had to log out because he has to be up at like 6 o'clock in the morning or earlier to go to work. And I'm like, nah, man, I'll be fine. I'll be able to make it back to my house, no problem, right? Um, well, actually, what happened is I completely got um bodied, like for real. Okay, it says that the chat is all on, so I don't understand. Except for Twitch, because I don't bother with Twitch anymore. So yeah. Okay, there we go. So chat should be on. The one of you watching, like hit the number 1 or something. Let me know if chat's working. I don't know if they added an update to restream and it screwed things up. I still have to figure out why every time I try to stream a video of me playing Dune, it turns the sound off in Dune, the game. It's like that's so strange, and annoying, because one of the things I like the most about the game is the sound, of the desert. And plus it's super important when you're running around because it has hey, Crafting Gamer, what is up, homie? I did manage to finally sell a bunch of my old 40K stuff. It is officially gone. And I just gave all the money to my wife. So, I did pretty good on that. The next box I set up to sell, the guy who bought the last box is like, let me know before you put it, on an open listing or something, because he wants to have the opportunity to have dibs. And I told him that, since he was such a good customer, drove all the way to the other side of town, because I guess he lives in North Orlando, to pick the stuff up and brought cash, that I would definitely do that. I mean, he offered Venmo and all that, but I don't deal with any of that. I'm all about that cash. You know what I mean? That cash money, that greenback, those dead presidents.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, Bear? What have you been up to,
It's
man?
hot as fuck in Montreal. Currently, it's 99 degrees. We got up to an insane high of 115, breaking like a 60-year record yesterday.
Okay, are you using Celsius?
No, Fahrenheit, sir.
Because I know like Celsius gets weird. It's like
So Celsius, it's 37
it's
degrees
like
with the
30
humidity.
degrees is good, but then if it gets like 40 degrees, you're dying or something.
Okay, so it's currently in Celsius with the humidity, the humidex, as you guys call it in the States, 34 degrees Celsius, which is 99 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a cool off from yesterday and earlier today, where we got up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit freedom units with the humidity. So it was a 61-year-old record that we broke for heat in June.
I literally don't understand how Canada does it.
Well, it's because we're a temperate zone.
I'm not a meteorologist, obviously, but it just seems like a place that is so cold for such a large portion of the year should never get.
So we have most parts of Canada have the full 4 seasons, right? So it's like one of my favorite lines Chevy Chase ever had is someone asked him why he moved from LA back to the Midwest or the East Coast or something. He goes, because I want my kids to grow up with 4 seasons, and experience 4 different seasons. Well, we fucking experience them in Montreal. And my favorite one's autumn. Like, I love autumn. It's the greatest season possible. Just a little bit chilly. Everything smells nice. There's usually fires burning, so it has a nice smell from the fireplaces.
Yeah.
The leaves are changing. It's really nice. You wear a sweater, or a hoodie. It's nice. Yeah. Summer is the fucking devil's ball sack in Montreal. It is hot and humid and sticky. Dude, it's going to be last night in the middle of the night. It was still about 102 degrees overnight with the humidity.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not doubting you. It's just the circuits in my brain are like, how is this possible?
I feel you, brother.
This place is super cold all the time. And then all of a sudden it's like, ha, bitches, burn.
Well, we do have spring before we get to summer. We have like this month or two of just rain and mild weather, right?
Right. See, Florida at least is a little bit consistent. Even in our winter time, they think winter is like, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's like the swing between 50 degrees at the coldest and 110 at the hottest isn't that drastic. But yours is like negative freaking.
Okay. So in Celsius,
all the way to cooking eggs.
In Celsius, we will get down with wind chill and all the rest of it to minus 40 or lower in the winter here, which is the same as minus 40 for you guys in freedom units.
Right.
But in the summer, as you're seeing, we can get up above plus 40 with the humidity.
Yeah.
So it's just madness. It's absolutely infuriatingly annoying.
Yeah. That's my main point was that I'm just like,
yeah, it's insane.
How's that work?
But my favorite part about autumn, beyond everything I just said, was that's when the insects go to hell and they die. And you can walk around outside. It's nice.
Hello, John Galt. How you salute to you, sir. See, Kentucky's weird because in the summer it will get hot, but only during the day. And as soon as the sun sets, the temperature just...
Yeah, we don't get that here.
So you just lay up during the day in the shade, you know what I mean? Yeah. Hide out in the hollers or something where it stays cool all the time anyway. And then when the sun sets, it's like freaking, it'll drop down to around 70 in Fahrenheit, which is a nice, comfortable temperature to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. When I was in LA, I was amazed how every day was 72 and sunny. It was like the most amazing weather I ever saw in my life, Like I get why people go to California, Southern California, and live in LA because that weather is fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Hey, Hungar.
Hungar, my man. Hungar, did you send me a group invite today and I didn't recognize your name, so I ignored it because I just ignore group invites? Glacier National Park had over a foot of snow today or over the weekend. And it's 63 degrees in MT. I don't know if that's Minnesota or Montana.
That's Montana.
Right now. Yeah. Well, I mean, those states up there on the border of Canada, a lot of times seem worse than the plains. Yeah. So you got like Montana, Dakota.
Yeah.
Those places, they get hellaciously cold in the wintertime. Hungar's here. He could tell you. You went to college at Minot State, North Dakota, which is near that Air Force base where they busted that airman female officer for banging all these randos.
No, I haven't heard about that.
I guess it was found unbecoming of a officer to be out partying with college kids and getting railed out all the time. So, yeah, as that, of course, that was like 30 years ago. So, nowadays she'd probably get promoted, but
Oh, she was in the Navy.
yeah, she's in the Navy. That'd just be the norm. But yeah, I remember Hungar, like a Haas, tell me how they'd get a cold snap in North Dakota and squirrels would freeze to the tree branches.
Oh yeah,
because the temperature just drops so quick, it'd just be like bam. And then when it would thaw, you'd have dead squirrels falling out trees. See, Kentucky's a lot more moderate. In the winter, it might get down to like, -15, -10, -20, but it doesn't feel cold, if that makes it. Like how you described your autumn, that's how I describe Kentucky's winter.
Well, okay, so you're saying you go to the holler where it's cooler, or you get some shade. Our heat is not sun on you heat; it's humidity, right? So you can go sit in the fucking shade till the cows come home. It's still going to be 109 degrees.
Yeah, that's Florida, man. It's like we live at 100% humidity every day.
Yeah.
So you get used to it. I mean, but it is true, the whole saying that people say about it's not the heat, it's the humidity. It is
really
true because I went to Death Valley for training when I was in the Army. It's like 130 degrees and I was comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only bad thing is your boogies up in your nose turn into concrete because they dry out so bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a little disgusting to talk about, and I apologize, but I mean, it just wasn't that bad. You're in the middle of the desert. It's 100 and whatever degrees. I mean, of course, you have to cover yourself up, but it just wasn't that bad.
Yeah, for sure. I believe
I remember one day in April, it was like 80 something degrees, which is hot for that. It is. Yep, that happens in Kentucky quite a bit. April is the schizophrenic year when one day it will be 80 degrees and then a day later you'll get a foot of snow. And then 2 days later, it'll be like 75 degrees. So now everything's mud. And where we live up on that mountainside, it's not mud like in Florida mud. It's red clay mud. So if you get it on you, it stays on you, which is why all the houses up there are built with either a basement or a mud room, where you can go and get all your muddy ass boots off and stuff. Because that stuff gets in the carpet or something, the carpet's ruined. I mean,
I believe it.
Yeah, Death Valley wasn't that bad. I was there for a month. And the one thing I can say is the nights were cold, but they weren't actually cold. It was just that the temperature drop was so fast that it took your body like an hour to get used to it. But so at first you think you're freezing to death, even though it's like 80 degrees. And then after, a little while, your body acclimatizes again and you're all like, then you're good. You're like, okay, it's cool. Because, I mean, never any clouds in Death Valley. That's one thing. And where we were out in the middle of the desert in the National Training Center, there's no artificial light either. So at nights, man, you sit and look up into space and you can see so many stars that like it can mess with your brain. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you're looking at infinity, it's just like, like in the city here, we have so much artificial light that it's hard to see the stars.
Yep, same here.
But now on the mountainside in Kentucky, there's no artificial light, and you can look up and see all the constellations and everything.
Oh yeah, we used to go up. We used to go camping up in the woods where I grew up. We'd go north into the Shikshaks, which is the Appalachians north, and we'd look at the Milky Way. You could actually see the fucking Milky Way. You understood why they called it the Milky Way, because it's like it looks like a road of milk in the stars.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
listen,
exactly, Hungar. And which, when we were in Death Valley doing our training, we were carrying not only 2 canteens, but the gallon, like the soft rubber canteen. And like once an hour, we would be told to drink. Like the sergeant, that was kind of his job in our squad, was to be like, well, it's time to drink, put down at least a liter, and put down about half a canteen. And as long as you stayed hydrated, shit, man, it wasn't bad at all. Actually, there is a certain beauty to the desert. There really is. But for me, it's got to be the mountains. That's where that's what I like.
yeah, I like being in the mountains. Anyway, listen, I just wanted to come in and say hi because I haven't seen you for a while. Because every time you're on lately, I've been broadcasting, so I was like, oh well, bad timing. But I wanted to come in and say hi. But I gotta go to bed, man, because I gotta get it for work in the morning.
Well, I understand that, and I appreciate it. And I'm glad that your dance card is so full.
Well, I waited for you yesterday. I was like 5, 6 o'clock, no sign of you. 7 o'clock, no sign of that. I fucking I'm gonna stream tonight. And then as soon as I started streaming, like 20 minutes later, you came on live. I'm like, oh well, say la vie.
That's weird because I actually look to see who's on streaming, but it doesn't always tell me who's on.
It's weird. Fucking YouTube sucks.
Yeah, YouTube.
Anyway,
but sleep well, and
I'm gonna
I
try.
will chat
The
with you
heat's
later.
dropping, so maybe I'll be able to get some sleep. Anyway, you have a good night, man. It's good talking to you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, man. I have decided some of these mutant beetles I am going to, in honor of Comrade Stalin being a crazy bastard, paint them up like Colorado beetles, which apparently the Russians were terrified of. And during their great famine, they would tell the people the reason there was a famine is because America had dropped Colorado beetles into their grain fields. And some Russian people, a lot of them actually, would be expected to volunteer to go out into the fields to hunt down and destroy those Colorado beetles that were out there, destroying all the crops and making it where the poor Russians were starving to death, right? Now, funny story. There are no Colorado beetles in Russia. And America never dropped any in. And chances are, if we had, in most of the places in Russia, they would have died. But the Russians were so proud of their defeat of the Colorado beetle that they began wearing these ribbons that were orange with brown stripes, like a Colorado beetle. So I've got here this slasher beetle, so called because its front legs are like big scythes. And I've painted him, well, the carapace mostly orange. And I'm going to use some chocolate brown and a really fine brush and paint some stripes on his carapace in that brown. And then we'll have a gigantic, mutated, slashy armed Colorado beetle, And for me, it'll kind of be an inside joke because I'll be like, ha, I know all about the myth of the much feared and benign Colorado beetle. The cyborg. Hello, cyborg. How are you? Yeah, Hunger, I don't know if you know this. I almost thought about allowing it, but then I didn't. In some versions of Gamma World and in Mutants and whatever, Mutant Future, which is basically Gamma World, but done by Goblinoid Press, so the guy that did Labyrinth Lord, they allow androids as player characters. But I don't know. I think androids should definitely stay. But anyway, yeah. Our other Dune playing brother gave me like a completely badass rapier, like a high tier rapier, and I was running around wrecking face. And then on my way home, I wasn't paying attention and kind of fell asleep at the keyboard and ran out into the open desert and got ate by a worm. So when I woke up this morning at like 6:30, I noticed the game was still on, and I was like, well, that sucks. And so I restarted the game and logged in, and my character was buck ass naked, squatted down like Slav squatting on top of my freaking, your little house console. And I'm just like, that is the worst thing. Like, I feel bad. I don't even want to tell him about it. You know what I mean? Because it's like the item he gave me probably took him a little while to make, to harvest all the, cobalt scraps and all that kind of shit. And then for me to be running across doing something and fall asleep and get ate by a sandworm, that's just like lame and gay and lame. And yeah, I felt really bad about it. Mobius, what is crack-a-lackin'? Well, I am painting up some small land sharks currently, which is just a fancy name for bullets. But these ones were designed specifically for Gamma World. And I'm painting up a slasher beetle, which is a beetle that has two very razor sharp claws in the front. And I'm painting him orange because I'm going to paint him like a Colorado beetle. What is the name of the guild? I mean, people are like, I'm getting invited to all this shit, and I don't even know who's doing the inviting. So I'm all like, I'm not going to accept an invitation, if I don't know what's going on. And I will say one bad thing about Dune is that the UI, when it comes to chatting and everything, is not as good as Conan was. It is a lot easier to chat in Conan. But when he and I were hanging out together, I was using the V button to push to talk, and he could hear me just fine, but his push to talk wasn't working for shit. So I couldn't hear him at all. But yeah, he gave me a beautiful new rapier, and I immediately got ate by a worm. Oh, so he did name the guild Worm Food. That's a funny and apt name. I actually unlocked a I need to use my inside voice. So is this? I need Barney to run in and be like, inside voice. No. I unlocked a thing because I've been ate by worms so much. That's not braggable, but it just is what it is, I don't know what I'm doing, but now one time I got ate by a worm and it was awesome because I was in quicksand, and apparently the quicksand killed me before the worm did. So when I reappeared, I had all my gear on me, which was really cool. I mean, I still lost my sand bike, but who cares, right? I mean, well, I care, but to make a tier 1 or 2 sand bike is pretty easy. Oh, he got it fixed today? Awesome. So anyway, I made myself a dirk, and I went to fight some bandits for my Swordmaster quest, and they're all equipped with the higher tier weapons. So it was very difficult, and I died so many times that you know, most of my armor started falling off. My shield broke. You know, it was just a bad time. You know, and I decided instead of staying and just constantly dying, I'd just go home. On my bike itself, I've got a couple thousand carbon ore. So, I mean, I'm ready to make steel. And once I get the steel made, I'll be able to make a medium refinery so I can finally make aluminum. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, they got some wild achievements in there, you know. Yeah, murdered by Sardaukar 100 times. Here's an achievement. It's like nice, nice. And then freaking Sardaukar, right? During the day they lay low, but at night the Sardaukar ships patrol the desert with spotlights, and if they see you, they hit you with a suspensor beam so that you can't get away, and they deploy a squad to kill you. Which at my level now, since two of their ships run right past my base, when I hear the horns of the ships going off, I equip my best weapons and armor, and I'll run out and jump in the spotlight. And they'll deploy their kill squad, and I'll just kill all of them, drain all their blood, and put it in the blood purifier to turn it into water, because the game is called Doom. And that means you better have some water or you will die. And I've even been so desperate that I ran out of water in the middle of a dungeon I was in, but I had blood. So I drank the blood, which causes a debuff, but at least you don't die of dehydration. So, you know, so yeah, I spent like a whole day doing an adventure and living as a vampire. It's like every enemy, that trooper that I killed, I was up there sucking the blood out of and then drinking it, you know, because that's how desperate I was to live. So right now I'm pretty happy because I've got about 500 liters of water stored up. But when I go to make the 100 still, it's going to eat up all that water, because converting iron to steel requires carbon ore, iron ingots, and a shit ton of water. So list of achievements you don't want. I haven't seen it, but I'll have to look it up when I get done with this. I mean, this isn't going to be a very long stream, guys. I was just painting some stuff. Like, for those of you who know the movie Six String Samurai, I painted Buddy up. I need to paint his shirt white, though. And, of course, you can't have Buddy without the kid. And his coonskin hat. So, you know, a little post-apocalyptic whatever there, Buddy and the kid. And, of course, for their base, hello, can you go? Anyway, for their bases, I'm just going to use some of the Citadel Technicals sand, since in the movie, half of the time they were just walking through a desert. So, you know, but yeah. I have a problem. I don't know why, what, but I do have a problem where I'll be playing the game, having a good time, and then just like, it's almost like narcolepsy. I just pass the hell out. And then I wake up dead. When I'm lucky, I pass out while I'm standing in my house, because my house is moisture sealed. So, you know, I'm not going to die as long as I'm in my house, usually. But if I'm unlucky, I'm running across the desert somewhere and, you know, end up getting murdered by something or just dying of dehydration. And then, you know, if you're on a bike or a buggy, you got to try to go back and get it. And it turns into a whole thing, you know. Like I told everybody, I was not joking. The Dune MMO punishes you for wanting to play the game. Just got cake out of the oven. English toffee cake. Yeah, you shouldn't be eating cake at all. Otherwise, you're going to be an English getting a foot removed cake. Sorry, I always bitch at you though, bro. It's because I care and I love you. But sometimes I feel like, man, I shouldn't bitch at the poor guy, you know? He doesn't need to hear me bitching at him about all of the bad mistakes he makes. He knows. But I can't help it, you know? There's just a part of me that's like constantly worried and constantly therefore bitching and complaining about stuff that's literally out of my hands. But anyway, yeah, this game is the kind of game where it's like, hey, I want to play this game, and the game looks you right in the eyes and says, are you sure? And I mean that kind of in the best sort of way, because it's like the game itself is like, you don't have to do anything to die. You can just be standing around long enough and you will die. It's like from the second you log into this game till the second you log out of this game, your ass better be on the hunt for water, because otherwise you will shrivel up like a raisin in the sun, and that'll be the end of you. And then after water, you're going to want to not get ate by worms. And that's not always, take it from me, easy. You know, if you're not paying attention and you're running through the desert and you decide to run over drum sand, well, guess what? Sorry. I mean, as soon as you hit that drum sand, if there's a worm within 100 miles, it is beelining your ass. And the thing about the worms in this game, you cannot outrun them. Once one of them decides to come after you, it's going to get you unless you make it to the rocks before it gets you, but you can't outrun it. So the best you can hope for is it's far enough away that you can make it to the rocks before it makes it to you. Oh, it's not for you? Okay. So there's that. There's the whole dehydration will kill you. The worms will kill you. The game is just loaded to the brim with different types of NPCs, all of whom want you to die, whether they're bandits, Sardaukar, whatever they are, because you are a houseless, nobody scavenger. And that puts you at the lowest level of the political, you know, stratosphere, ecosphere, whatever, on the planet, right? So, like, if someone kills you, they won't get into a lot of trouble for it because you're a nobody and nobody cares, you know? So, right now, here's the thing, though, I'm wondering about. I will join our brother's guild, but I'm like level 3 into Harkonnen. So, and he said something to me the other day about wanting to go Atreides. So, I mean, I don't know how that will work. You know what I mean? Because the Harkonnen in Griffin's Rest or whatever, Maximilian, whatever, him and I are buddies these days. You know what I'm saying? He's got me like blackmailing Atreides soldiers and, you know, executing people that have done shit he didn't like. So, yeah, you can't outrun a worm. That's one thing that the devs say. No matter how fast you think you are, the worm will catch you. Your only chance is to get onto the rocks before it arrives. I actually got another freaking unlock today called Facing the Worm, because I got to the rocks and the worm was so close behind me. It was like the movie Dune. It literally stood up and looked at me. And I'm standing on the rocks 20 meters away from the worm that's towering up looking down on me. So I backed up into the actual rocks better. And it said that I unlocked the achievement, the worm faces you, or in the eye of the worm, or something like that. So yeah, me and the sandworms, we have this whole deal going on where we play tag, hide and seek, whatever, man. I also harvested a shit ton of spice today because I was just running around and I saw the purple sand, or blue sand. So I ran up on it and I made sure I didn't hear any like sand or worm sound. And I just scooped it all up, with my compactor real quick, threw it in my pack, and then hauled ass back to the rocks. So that was good. That was good. Stay close to the rocks all the time. Yeah, I need to. But for some reason, man, sometimes I'm just like, I got to run across this area, It's going to happen. I got to do it. So let's get her done. And if you misjudge the distance between the area and the next area, then yeah. Then the only thing getting done is you being turned into worm poop. Which it turns out is what the spice is made out of. So, at least then I guess you can claim to have some value, since you will be converted into spice. What a game, man. Like, I'm working with my trooper trainer, and the whole thing is I have to find drugs for her. And I was talking to the NPC the other day, and I'm listening to her talk, and she goes off on this thing about how these stems she has, are like, it's like the greatest orgasm you ever had, and it can last for days, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting here being like, damn, this is a little personal, I think. Like, hey, I just wanted you to teach me how to be a little bit better with my hand grenade and my freaking sugar wire and shit. I wasn't really looking into having a conversation with you. She's a blonde woman who happens to also be a junkie. And yeah, I'm like, I was not looking forward to having a conversation with some meth head chick about how addicted she is to some drug because it gives her like orgasms and shit. I'm like, man, get a husband or something that knows what he's doing, right? You ain't got to be like that. But this is Dune. And a big thing with the universe of Dune is pretty much everyone is a drug addict and also kind of evil, And I'm not just talking about the Harkonnen. They just wear their evil out in the open for everybody to see, right? But all of the great houses do shady ass shit nonstop that, we would consider. I mean, House Atreides, the supposed House of Honor. Oh, yeah, they're the House of Honor. Unless you're on their list, and then they send an assassin to kill you with poison or any other shady ass shit. And that's just what it is. So, yeah, that's the main difference between the Harkonnen and the Atreides. They both do shady stuff. It's just one of them kind of embraces their shady stuff, and the other one kind of pretends like they don't do shady stuff, even though they do. I mean, the House Atreides has slaves. they have peons and peasants, and they have mentat assassins whose whole job is to seek out anyone disloyal to the house and kill them. You know, of course, you'll probably get a much cleaner death from an Atreides assassin than you will from a Harkonnen, because the Harkonnen, they kind of like and enjoy, the infliction of pain. But yeah, yeah. But that's every group. I mean, you can't even be like, oh, well, the Freemen are good guys. Really? Because they will murder your ass in 3 seconds just to drain the liquid out of you. And they won't even feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, if they catch you out in the desert and you're not a member of one of their clans and sieges and shit like that, they just kill you. Yeah, your state will be decided by the spice. I am the spice. Yeah, see, unlike Hungar, my guy is like, I am a desert creature, you know, like Dr. Liet Kynes in the actual book, not the remake movies where they, for some reason, did a boo boo with his character for reasons beyond my understanding. But whatever, the movies were still pretty good. But yeah, I am a desert creature. The most valuable thing in the universe is based on poop. Yes. Poop, though, it's actually like when the sand trouts go deep into the sand to gestate to become the next level of their life cycle. They congregate together in a big mass, and they're constantly eating sand shrimp or sand fleas, whatever, and pooping and pooping and pooping, and eventually the ammonia and other chemicals from their poop explodes out, and it geysers down, and that's spice. And then the sand trout that survive that will go on to become sandworms. So, yeah. So, yes, it's technically the poop of sandworms. What's up, East Tennessee? We got East Tennessee and we've got South Central Tennessee, I guess, South, wherever Tennessee. Got the Tennessee crew in the house. But yeah, pretty much everyone in Dune is a drug addict. I mean, even the mentats that aren't addicted to the spice, they're still addicted to the juice of sappho, which I believe has spice in it. So, and they say their little prayer, it is by will alone that set my mind in motion. And then, by the juice of sappho that thoughts acquire speed, whatever. It's thoughts acquire speed, but lips acquire stains. The stains are a warning. Hey, what's up, homie? Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's late, but you're like 3 hours behind. I'm just talking about Dune. I know you're not. Well, I don't know, but I don't remember you ever saying being like big time into Dune or MMOs or computer games. But me and some of my gamer homies have been playing the new Dune MMO, and it's been pretty badass. And then one thing I will say, Funcom, who did Conan, and they did Conan right. Like, they didn't pull any strings in Conan. You're Northeast Tennessee, okay. Yeah, it's like the Funcom version of Conan is 100% accurate to Robert E. Howard. including, if you want, you can build a wheel of pain and go out and beat women up with a club and then drag them back to your house and put them on the wheel of pain. And depending on what level they are and their tier and everything, it will determine how long they have to be on the wheel of pain before they fully submit and become your slave. At which point, let's say you went out and you got a Vanir or one of the northern women with the long blonde hair and really big boobs. You can undress her and put her in like this golden skimpy bikini dancing girl outfit, and then set her in your house and just tell her to dance. And then every time you walk in the house, she'll be there dancing, shaking her boobs at you and shit. Yeah. So they're like, whoever worked on Conan at Funcom, they were not worried about the evils of the male gaze, because they're like, and if you don't like the blondes, you can always grab yourself, a Kushite. Like if you're like my brother and you want a bunch of black chicks dancing around in bikinis in your house, you can make that shit happen, right? You can grab some Asians, some Stygians. A little bit of flavor. Like the last time I was playing the game, I built a big ass castle in Samaria, and I must have had 20 dancing girls in that house. That's literally all I did, was go out and try to find the best, highest tier female enemies and beat them with a club until they would get knocked out, and then drag them back and throw them on the wheel. Dune for your 8th grade book report at Beaumont. Dune would be some pretty heavy reading for an eighth grader. For your average 8th grader. Because of all the sci-fis out there, it is one, the sci-fi that Warhammer 40K stole the most shit from. And 2, there's just so much political intrigue and everything going on in it that it's like, it can, some people have said that it can be a little bit complicated, a little complex. Now, in this Dune game, Paul Atreides never existed. Like, he willed himself not to exist because of, for whatever reason, how he talks about seeing all these futures and all these timelines. And in this timeline, his mother gave birth to a girl, Areste, I think is her name, Ariste or something like that. And because she did what the Bene Gesserit wanted her to do, they promoted her to a truth sayer. And because she got promoted to a truth sayer, she immediately saw through Dr. Yui's plans, which meant Dr. Yui couldn't betray him. He got caught and executed. So when the Harkonnen and the Sardaukar attacked Arrakeen, the Atreides were ready for it and pretty much put a beating on them. So then House Atreides survived, but then the Emperor declared what is known in Dune as a war of assassins, which basically means you can kill each other, just not openly. You got to be kind of sly about how you kill each other, And so you have the Harko village or Harko city, and then you have, Arrakeen. You don't have Carthage, which is where the Harkonnen used to rule from, because it got nuked during that war. Carthage, yeah, the Atreides nuked the shit out of Carthage. So that was pretty much an end to that. Because Paul didn't exist, Raban didn't die, Fade didn't die, and also Raban's father, Glasso, didn't die. And Glasso is the leader of the Harkonnen on Dune. But the beast Raban is trying to, or no, it's Glasso is Raban. It's a Russian name that starts with a GR, is running operations for the Harkonnens. Yeah, these guys talking about Tennessee. I don't know if you guys remember that band. Lord, I'm feeling so down pressed, down and out, losing hope. Although I am black and proud, brothers have got me pessimistic. Why does it have to be so damn tough? Yeah. Anyway, I think the name of that band was Altered Development or something like that. And it came out in the 90s at some point, I believe. Maybe the 80s. They were, your intellectual rap group. They had a couple of songs and then they vanished. Like one of them was him talking about hanging out with a homeless man. But by caffeine alone, I set my mind in motion by the berries of Java. Yeah, basically. Like in the new movie by Villeneuve or whatever, for some reason, all the Mentats just have a tattoo down their bottom lip. But in the book, you could tell like the Mentats had been mentatting for a long time, I guess. That's not really a word. Because they would their whole lips would be stained red from drinking the juice of Sappho. And then, of course, the emperor in the book wouldn't have looked as old as he did in the movie at all. He would have looked about 40, even though he was closer to 200, because the spice treatments stop you from aging. So as long as you can get the spice treatments to rejuvenate yourself, you basically can stop yourself from aging for a very long time. I mean, not infinity, but for a very long time. So the fact that, they got Christopher Walken, who I love Christopher Walken, but he never should have been the Emperor of Doom. The guy who played Duke Leto was more about the age of the guy who should have been the Emperor of House Carino, which was originally House Butler. But after the Battle of Carino, they changed their name from House Butler to House Carino. So if you know about the Butlerian Jihad and everything, House Carino was the family that kind of started that shit. Arrested Development. Yep. And that song is called Tennessee. So the only rap group I can think of from Kentucky is Nappy Roots. And all they sing about is like driving through the mud and how nice everyone in Kentucky is. And then they do like a thing with another rapper where they talk about how it's going to be a good day. And ain't nobody going to cry today because ain't nobody going to die today because something, yeah. Today, yeah, it's going to be a good day. And all my homies going to ride today. And ain't nobody got to die today. Yep. Anyway. And then, of course, the biggest rap group I can think of from Ohio is Bone Thugs and Harmony from Toledo. And their number one hit was them singing about the day they got their welfare check. So, yep. In the song Copperhead Road, Connolly Pettimore, his grandfather, was always running moonshine down to Knoxville from Kentucky. Of course, then later on, he said, screw making moonshine. Let's grow weed, man. Come on. And yeah. And there's parts of that song that are really real too. When he's like, I joined the army on my birthday. They draft the white trash guys first anyway. So, he's talking about you might as well join because they're going to draft you anyway. So I did print out a ton of these guys. And no, Holy Diver, I know you know better. They're not Necrons. These are T-800s without the flesh, though. And with the pulse rifle in the 30-watt range. And I've got a couple of exterminators here that got like the big gun. Like in the movie when the one guy gets in and he's got that big freaking. Yeah. But of course, in the war in the future, they really, for the most part, didn't put the flesh on them because it wasn't really necessary. But, every now and then they had to make a few infiltrators. So, and the infiltrators, of course, would be the ones that had the Schwarzenegger meat on them. Yep, almost time to wrap this stream up. I did a video, by the way, guys, about how I will be adding, should we play Gamma World 2nd Edition, I will be adding a character advancement system to it. Yeah, it's like a T-800. That's exactly what it is. I mean, the beautiful thing about 3D printing is you can get pretty much anything. Like this one, I haven't finished painting the skin and doing the neatening her up and all. But this is Pris from the first Blade Runner. And that's exactly who it is. It's not going to focus in, obviously, because my fucking camera sucks. Excuse my language. But so, yeah, I downloaded all the STLs for heading off to bed. Hey, you sleep well because I am heading off to bed in 2 minutes and 1 second. So, you have sweet dreams. Hopefully I will as well. I know I won't, but that's okay. I'm on this special kind of medication they give me that I have to take before I go to sleep. And it makes it where I can't have dreams, which is weird because I do have dreams, but only when I'm just coming awake in the morning. Like, that little period of time when you're waking up, I'll have a dream then. But the whole period of time when I fall asleep and through the night, I will have zero dreams. That was a big part of my treatment, was to make it where I could not dream. Built your Tyranids from the starter box. Now to do the Marines and paint them all. Yep. Good times, man. I've never been a fan of Tyranids, but I do have friends who swore by them buggy bastards. I just never cared for it. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. I've been an Imperial player from the get-go. Like always. Whether it was Space Marines, Imperial Guard, what have you, I have always fought for the God Emperor. I did dabble around with like orcs and stuff because, why not? But yeah, at the end of the day, my thing is going to be Imperial forces. It's just who I am. Don't care for the Tyranids. Tyranids, at least back in the day when I played, which would be about 6th or 7th edition, when I was, a little bit more serious about the game, Tyranid weren't too bad at all. I mean, they weren't like, ever, but they weren't too bad at all. Oh, my computer just did a cold start or something, started the whole program. And yeah, my buddy, who also lives up in Tennessee somewhere, he is a huge Tyranid player. Like, that was his thing. And we had some epic battles. His Tyranid versus my Lamenters. And, sometimes, he'd win, and sometimes I'd come very close to winning. It was kind of like that. I don't think I ever actually won, but, there were times when I came pretty close. I'm not ashamed to say that bro of mine, he was just a better 40K player. That's all there is to it. So, right. He was just a better 40K player. There's only one time that I ever turned it around on him, and it was because he was playing Dark Eldar and I was playing Blood Angels Lamenters, and everything in my army had twin-linked assault cannons. And so his Dark Eldar roll in on their death sleds and shit, and my Baal Predators and my what are they called? The troop transports would just eat them alive with assault cannons. I was rolling like hundreds of dice per turn with just twin-linked assault cannons. So it was a really bad matchup for him because I AP'd out like 9/10 of his army. And if I rolled a 6, forget about it because, so Grey Knights are cool. Never played any of the Dune related games, tabletop. Well, we're playing the computer game. It's like Conan, except way bigger and way deadlier. I mean, in Conan, you can at least go AFK sometimes and shit. This game, you can't AFK. You'll dehydrate like a raisin and die. But anyway, we're at a little over an hour, and that's all I wanted to do tonight. So I'm going to head on out. Thank you, everybody who decided to pop in and join. So peace and love. And yeah, I've got a video where I explain how I'm going to add character advancement to Gamma World 2nd Edition. If you want to hear my ramblings on why and how I intend to do that, check it out. If you're a Gamma World fan, it fixes, I think, the only thing negative about 2nd Edition Gamma World, which is, what's up, George? How you doing, bro? Which is that there was no leveling. So once you made your character, other than gear upgrades, your character just never got better. It just eventually would die, So I've decided that is an issue, and I'm going to fix it. But everyone, take it easy. Good gaming. Let me show this off before I go. Here is my gigantic slasher Colorado beetle. So, orange with the chocolate brown stripes. I'll do his base up, and then it'll be ready to jump out from under a ruin or something and rip some poor mutant in half. I also started painting one of my player's characters. He is a mutant muskrat. I know you can't see him too well, but he is a mutant muskrat who apparently hangs out, like I said, with the mutant moose who has the wings mutation. So, yeah, Gamma World can get weird. But all that said, And all these Terminators, they'll be easy to paint because I'll just quick paint them silver. And when it's completely dry, I'll get some actual Vallejo silver and hit them up, and they'll be all shiny, but with the shades and stuff. So it'll be good. Hungar, if you're not in bed, maybe you'll see me online, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to get home the best I can without dying, because you know, I'm in real trouble. Like my armor's broken off and everything like that. My shield generator's broke, so I got issues. The good news is though, I'm carrying 2 liters of water, so I don't have to worry about that. So, yep. So, what's the saying? Bless is coming and is going. May he keep the world for his people. You know, these